Not buy land in the metaverse. As a virtual reality developer and a VR entrepreneur, and probably one of the few people in the world who understands what's going on with the metaverse and virtual reality and augmented reality and all these crazy things that are happening, I feel like I should talk about not only this, but what the metaverse will actually be and a couple of other things. Welcome to this video, another episode of Garett Talks VR. My name is Garett, I'm a virtual reality developer, and I'm going to be talking to you about why you should absolutely not buy land in the metaverse. I'm also going to be talking about what the metaverse will actually end up being. And lastly, I'm going to comment on a recent VR game that I played that I found really cool, and they did some stuff that I really want other VR developers to do and know, and so I am putting it out there in this video episode, whatever we want to call it, of Garett Talks VR. The metaverse and buying land in the metaverse. There was recently a news article saying that someone bought a piece of land in the metaverse for more than $1 million, okay? And that is just absolutely crazy to me. And I looked into it a little more, and it looks like they bought it on what's called Sandbox, which is its own metaverse. And oh my gosh, everyone and their dog has a metaverse right now. Okay, look, I should probably explain like what the metaverse is, what it currently is, and what it could be. The metaverse, the dream is Ready Player One. If you haven't read Ready Player One or you haven't seen the movie and you want to understand the metaverse, that's what you need to go do. You just need to go watch Ready Player One, because that is what we're hoping we can make the metaverse, right? We're hoping it is basically a convergence of social media and the internet where people can basically live out their lives in a virtual social media network that can also be doubling as a productivity platform and so many other things, right? That is what the metaverse is hoping to be. Currently, we have bits and pieces of it. Okay, so like the Sandbox is it's a game essentially, right? Like, what it is basically they've created a game, a hotspot where people can go in, and they've only allowed for a certain number of places, land, so they call, inside of their game world, and people can buy it and sell it and trade it. The reason why I think this is dumb to invest in is because of what happened to Warren Buffett when he was asked about why he didn't invest in Amazon. So Warren Buffett is one of the greatest investors of all time. If you don't know about him, you should know about him. Anyway, he had a chance to invest in Amazon way back before it was the $1 trillion company that it is today. And he has been asked over and over and over again why. He's been asked over and over and over again why he didn't invest in Amazon. And his answer is actually kind of a profound thing. He didn't invest in Amazon because he did not know that Amazon was going to become what Amazon is today. Now, the reason this is kind of a profound statement is because around that time when Warren Buffett was asked to invest in Amazon, there were several other Amazon-like companies that were also trying to become what Amazon is today. And because of that, Warren Buffett, this incredibly smart investor who has made billions and billions of dollars off of his investments, had to not invest in any of them because he just wasn't sure which one was going to be successful. Now, the reason I am telling you guys this is because I feel like the metaverse is in a similar situation. We have hundreds of thousands of different metaverses, these basically massively multiplayer online games, and we don't know which one is going to surface as the king. Obviously, there's some pretty big competitors in this space because people feel like this is going to be the next big thing, and frankly, I agree with them. But it's hard to tell which one to invest in because we frankly don't know which one is going to end up being the Amazon, right? Another example of this is America Online. Do you even remember that? That used to be the biggest search engine. That was the search engine that my family started using when we first got internet. But no one uses that anymore. It's all Google now, and Google is now the $1 trillion company. I wouldn't invest in VR or Metaverse real estate because we just don't know which one it is. And yes, like if you do happen to choose it right, then congratulations. You invested in Amazon back when stock was $5 a piece, and you're going to be a trillionaire one day. So, I mean, I do not give financial advice, but I don't think this is something you should do. Now, another reason why I don't think you should invest in Metaverse real estate is because Metaverse real estate is infinite, technically, right? This leads into the next thing that I want to talk about in this episode, and that is what will the metaverse actually be? I recently played a really cool experience put out there by Eighth Wall. Now, Eighth Wall is this really cool company who does, it's called web-based AR. Essentially, they have built in augmented reality applications straight into a browser so that the only thing you need to be able to access these applications is your phone or any device that accesses the internet. Now, they recently came out with this really cool experience called Summit Scramble. I tried this out with the people that I work with, right? And the people that I work with work in augmented reality and they also work in VR. Obviously, they're helping me out with sale. We all tried this out together. I jumped into this experience on the Oculus Quest. My buddy jumped into it on his iPhone. Another person jumped into it on a desktop computer. And another person jumped into it with the Oculus Quest using hand tracking. All four of us were able to play against each other using this one app and a single access point. That is how the metaverse is going to be. We need to be able to find a way to make it so that the metaverse is both open source, because that's the reason why the internet is so popular, is because anyone and everyone can access the internet and there's no one person who is controlling it. I could go into why it would be such a bad idea for Meta to control the metaverse, but let's just not open that can of worms. This is what I see the metaverse being, right? It's going to be some sort of open source, universally accessible platform that not only can you access from like a virtual reality standpoint, but you can also access from like your phone or a desktop or any of these platforms, right? That is the direction we need to go in order to build this Internet 2.0 that people have been talking about, right? When we put it that way, there's actually a couple of companies who are doing this, and I'm glad they are not labeling themselves as a metaverse, right? One of them is Rec Room. Rec Room is an extremely interesting company that recently had, I think, a $3 billion valuation. They are on every platform. You can jump on your phone and jump into Rec Room. You can jump on an Xbox and jump into Rec Room. I don't know if they're on PlayStation. I would assume they are. But you can pretty much jump on any gaming platform and jump into Rec. And Rec Room allows users to build their own worlds, share them with people, create custom art, and sell them to each other. That is essentially a metaverse. What Rec Room is already doing is what people are asking for, and yet people like Meta refuse to acknowledge that because, well, they beat them to the punch. Anyway, that is what, I mean, if you want to get an idea and like see like kind of what a metaverse could be, Rec Room would probably be the best bet for that right now. Honestly, Fortnite is also getting pretty close. If they hadn't pissed off Apple in their recent lawsuits, I feel like Epic would be much closer to a metaverse than most people, because they've basically taken gaming, made it into a social platform, and expanded it to all the platforms that are currently available. So anyway, that's how I see the metaverse becoming. Like, honestly, like I feel like in the near future, everyone is going to have a server in their house. Now, a server is essentially, your own website and storage space for the internet, right? But what someone needs to come up with is a way to create a universally accessible, massively online multiplayer system that can be installed on any server, and you, as the owner of said server, can let people in through some kind of interconnecting system and be able to build your own games inside of this server and share them with others. And that's essentially what a website is right now. We're just going to expand it to the functionality of what HTML does and JavaScript does for a website right now is going to turn into a 3D interface, or essentially a video game. Anyway, that is what I think the metaverse will end up being. And I'm very curious to see if like what I'm thinking, because I mean, I'm a VR developer. I would love for the metaverse to take off, because that would be great. And I love VR and I love video games, and I think the future is definitely heading in that direction. However, what people are putting out there right now and what people are doing to metaverse the place up, like it'll be like, did you guys ever hear the word cyberspace growing up? Like that was a huge buzzword for a really long time, right? And that buzzword is dead nowadays. I just kind of feel like metaverse is going to follow the absolute same path. Like there's metaverse as we know it is not going to be it. It's going to end up being called like the Oasis, or Eden backwards, right? Because it's meta, right? Backwards. Anyway, those are my thoughts on one of the metaverses. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this is more of like my VR passion. So like, if you're not a VR developer or like a game designer, feel free to just like this video and subscribe and be gone. But this is just something I wanted to talk about, because Like when I see cool things that like other developers have done, and I want to give props to them and point it out because these are the kind of things that we need to make universal. Because like right now, the VR industry doesn't have standards. There's no like this is how things are done. It's starting to form, and that's really really cool. But there's just like people have been doing little things, and particularly this game that I'm going to talk about, which is Gun Raiders VR. Like they did something with their control set that just blew my mind, and I was like, this is cool. I really want to talk about this. So anyway, I'm just going to talk about that for a minute. So Gun Raiders is a game that like I am pretty addicted to right now. It's free on the Oculus Quest store. It's one of the few apps that has made it from the App Lab to the official store, which is really cool and super promising for indie devs like me to be able to get my game from the App Lab to the official store. And I'm so glad that Meta has stuff like that in place for us developers. And so I'm really grateful that that is happening. But anyway, what essentially they did that I was just blown away by is like not only is their gameplay super fun, but they did something that I have been trying to do with Sail, and I'm glad that other developers are doing this. And what I'm going to call it is practically reality. Essentially, they took the fun part about VR is immersion, right? It's fun to reload guns. It's fun to use your jetpack. It's fun to dash around, to slice people with swords. That is the fun part about virtual reality. That's why it's so much better than any gaming console out there, because you have to perform the actions. And the companies and the games that actually make you perform these actions are 100% better than the games that are just, they lean more towards the gamified side of things, right? And so with Gun Raiders VR, they simplified but also allowed you to do several things in the game. So the first one is reloading. Like a reload in Gun Raiders VR is super simple. Like if you are using a rifle, when you run out of ammo, all you have to do to reload is pull out the clip or just drop the clip. You drop the clip and you put in a new one. That is it. Like, compare that to Onward, where they try for a much more realistic reloading system, which there is place for. Like, Onward is an extremely popular game, and I think simulation games have a huge role to play in the virtual reality world. However, the big games that are going to draw in tons and tons and tons of the common people are games like Gun Raider VR, because they are quick, they're fun to play, easy to pick up, la-di-da-da-da. But anyway, in Onward, if you want to reload your gun, it is like reloading an actual gun. You have to pull out the clip, put in a new clip, rack back the hammer, put it back in, charge the round essentially, and it is as if you are reloading a real AK-47 or M16 or M4. Like, that's how you would do it in real life, So it's interesting. Obviously, there's room for those things, but in Gun Raiders, it's just a clip switch, and you're ready to go again. No charging the rifle by pulling back a hammer or any kind of switch or anything like that. It is ready to go after you do that. Now, another thing they did like that is the dual wielding thing. Now, dual wielding is something that has been on my mind for Sail, because dual wielding is awesome, guys. I want in Sail for players to be able to hold a weapon and a sword and be able to shoot that weapon and reload it. But how do you reload a gun while you have both hands occupied, right? I mean, with the two-handed rifle, you're using one to stabilize and you're using the other one to obviously like hold and pull the trigger. But when you have both hands occupied, it's hard to reload. And so what they did, which I thought was just this kind of simple genius, is just a simple action. You point down, point back up, you're reloaded. It's brilliant. I know this has been done in other games, and Gun Raiders is not the first one to do it. But the fact that all of their guns are so easy to use and so fun to reload, like it still gives you that immersion of reloading and keeps the pace of the game just completely fast and everything. I love it. Just Gun Raiders VR, and whoever your development team is, you guys are awesome. You did some really cool things. And just one more thing I want to talk about with Gun Raiders. Their movement, okay? So typically on a VR game, like kind of the standard right now is you move, your direction of movement is determined by your left stick, right? On your left control, your left joystick, that is kind of your movement control, right? On your right control, up until this point, most games have only used the left and right movement of the joystick in order to snap turn or smooth turn you around, correct? These guys saw an opportunity there and used the up and down on the right joystick as the way to activate more movement, which is if you push up, your player uses their jetpack and they fly, and if you push down, depending on which way you have this controller going, your player will dash to that side. And that was just brilliant. Like that, I'm sorry, that is just a brilliant mechanic to include the movement in something you're already using for moving. And like, no one realized that the right controller was not being used well. And so that that was awesome, guys. Like, really cool mechanic. I honestly would love to implement something similar in my game. And so thank you for inspiring me. That is so freaking cool. And that is just awesome. Anyways, there's my, what are we at, 20-minute rant, whatever minute rant we are on just random VR stuff. I hope you guys found this helpful. Again, don't buy real estate in the metaverse. It's just not going to be worth it 9 times out of 10. If you do end up making yourself rich off of Metaverse Real Estate, I will eat an Oculus Quest head strap. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I love talking about VR, and I'd be happy to make more videos like this. So let me know that that's what you want by liking, subscribing, and all the fun stuff that YouTube asks you to do. And that's all from me, guys. I will talk to you next time.